Welcome to Southern Orthopedic PrepZone Game Time, driven by Carl Cannon.
Hey guys, welcome in. James Phillips and Brian Hale. This is our Week 9 DME PrepZone wrap-up show. Brian, a decent night of football. I mean, we had a few teams pick up wins, a few teams pick up losses.
Yeah, and a landmark moment for an area coach.
That's right.
As his team also gets a landmark victory as well. So, Great night.
Yeah, good night most of the way around. We do want to mention there were 3 games that were canceled this week. Dora and Good Hope was canceled due to a COVID issue at Dora, so they had to forfeit. Haleville and Curry was canceled for the same reason. Curry had a COVID issue. It's been going on for a couple of weeks now. Haleville wins that one by forfeit. And then Carbon Hill and Tarrant. Tarrant has canceled their entire season. Carbon Hill wins that game by forfeit.
Which will actually roll over the next week because Oakman was supposed to have Tarrant, and guess what?
Right. Now let's
reset and do it again.
All right, let's start out with some of our Winston County schools. We had Winston County hosting Cold Springs. Winston County wins 46-21. The Yellow Jackets are really on a roll now. I believe that puts them at 7-2 on the year. Is that right, or 6-2?
Yeah, and they're tied for first. Here's the problem. Guess where you go next week?
All right.
To Aliceville.
Going to Aliceville.
At Aliceville. So everything in that region will be determined next week. They're in a 3-way tie with Addison, who's got the victory over Winston County and Aliceville. Right. So all that will be determined next week. And of course, Addison's got Sulligent, which has really struggled this year. So
that's right. We're
kind of heading to the crossroads in that whole region next week that'll all be affected by those games.
Okay. The game you were talking about, Sumter Christian 32, Coosa Christian 13, a big road victory there for Sumter Christian. And that was a win for Coach Powell over there. What milestone did he hit?
225th.
225 wins. That says a lot. And, most of his career was at McAdory. And then he's been at Sumter Christian for 2 years now. And the Eagles are moving in the right direction. Yeah,
we got some, thanks to assistant coach Jeremy Moon, we actually have some player highlights. His son, Eli Moon, who we've had as a player of the week before, had 123 yards on 15 carries and a TD catch. DeFore and McClendon both had touchdown receptions, and then DeFore also had another touchdown rush for 10 yards. So, hey, the Southern Christian Eagles, we said this, they're ascending.
Yeah.
And they got a humongous matchup next week against Valley Head. That will be our game of the week. We'll be out at Summoning Christian this week.
That's right, yeah, and that's a game that is going to play some important role in playoff picture for sure.
Yeah, Summoning Christian's in their own driver's seat. I mean, they can determine exactly where they end up, but they have certified themselves in the playoffs, which is tremendous considering that this will be their first playoff appearance since 2016.
Right. Let's go back to Winston County for one. Pickens County 38, Meek 14. Meek really held in this game more than I expected. It was a fairly close game. First quarter it was 14-6, and then halftime I believe it was 30-14, somewhere in there. And then only held Pickens County to 1 touchdown in the second half. That's a pretty good showing for a Meek team that just got their first win last week.
Yeah, I mean, I expected this to be a much bigger blowout than it was, but, maybe Meek grab some more confidence.
Right.
And at a 1A level, look, if you can start building a foundation, it does not take a whole lot of time to jump to 5 or 6 wins.
Right, that's true. Another Winston County team that picks up a win, Lynn 21, South Lamar 14. We all missed this one on the Lynn picks and on the picks on our show this week.
Yeah, we all did. Yeah. There were some people that got it actually on them, but this is unexpected. I know Lynn has had some numbers problems.
They haven't.
We've heard that at some points they didn't even have enough to practice.
Right.
So a really good win by the Bears and in a comeback also after last week's loss.
Right, that's right. All right, how about over in West Jefferson? We said this would be a better game than most would think, and it was for a while. But Leeds picks up a 35-13 win over Corner.
Yeah, Leeds is a very dominant team. And that's actually the first one that Corner has dropped since the win over Dora. So But you were going against a juggernaut. I mean, Leeds is traditionally always been really good.
Yeah, year in, year out, Leeds always a very good team. The game you were at this week was Parker 42, Cordova 20, but you said that Cordova's offense looked pretty good throughout the night at different times, and that their quarterback, Mr. Hedrick, had a good game tonight.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I got the statistics here. Cody Hedrick, and this was regardless if he was going against a first string, second string, or third string defense. He and his receivers did a great job. He was 18 of 29 for 222 yards, 2 TDs, and an interception. A couple of those were drops, too. He was dead on the money with the pass. It was just a drop. Caden Airmore, who was his top target, had 9 catches for 100 yards, and Corey Killings had 3 catches for 87 yards and a touchdown. So, Cody came into this game as the leader in our area. I think he had somewhere around like 1,100 to 1,200 yards.
Yeah.
So that's another big night. So no matter what, I mean, the receiving core and the offensive pass blocking is doing a really good job in helping him get to his receivers. The problem for Cordova has just been defense. I mean, Parker came out and scored in the first half every single time they touched the ball.
Right.
42 points, 35 points, and then after Cordova scored their first touchdown, they returned the kickoff immediately back. So it was really a problem that the defense just couldn't stop Parker.
Here's another one. It finished about kind of how most of us expected. I missed the pick, though. Hamilton 21, Addison 7. We said that you typically spot Hamilton 14 points at their home field, and that's what happened. And so really probably more of a 7-7 game is what I'm calling it.
JB, I can't actually believe that you thought that Hamilton officials were going to let Addison have any chance of winning that game.
I don't know. What am I thinking?
Southern Orthopedic Prep Zone Wrap-Up, driven by Carl Cannon. Presented by Kilgore Green Funeral Home, Nelson, Bryan and Cross, Bank of Walker County, Jasper Main Street, Southern Orthopedic, and Carl Cannon.
All right, before we get to our game of the week, we've got one more that was a really close game, ended up in overtime. But the Oakman Wildcats fall tonight to Vinemont. Vinemont is for real this year.
Yeah.
And Vinemont wins 20-17.
Yeah, and that's really there wasn't anybody that picked Vinemont on that because Vinemont has just, number one, historically, they've struggled. Number two, if you look at some of their wins this year, you would think that Oakman would have had the edge. What that does in that region is that's basically Oakman's going to have to hope that Vinemont or Winfield really trip up.
Right.
Right now, I would say quite possibly since Winfield is playing Carbon Hill next week. I don't know who Vinemont has, but I would think that Oakman's probably going to go in as number 3.
Right. But the Oakman team over the last decade has been used to being that number 3 seed, going on the road and picking up a win on the road in the playoffs.
Yeah, and hopefully they will.
All right, our game of the week this week, Jasper Vikings traveling to Mortimer Jordan. And Brian, nothing feels better than winning this week.
I know.
Oh, my goodness. Like, I've had some rough weeks following the Vikings around this year. Losing 6 games in a row, that's never a good thing. But the football team, the coaching staff, everybody came out. And they came out, score early, go up 7-0. Then they give up 21 points before halftime. So they go into halftime losing 21-7. But they scored 29 unanswered points in the second half and roll to a 36-21 win over Mortimer Jordan on their homecoming. That's always good to beat somebody on their homecoming.
Absolutely. And, I was watching, at halftime, looking at the score updates, and I saw 21-7.
Right.
And Sebastian Black kept, telling us back, hey, Jasper just took 29-21.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Jasper wins the ball game 36-21.
Right.
We were just like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, what can you absolutely say other than you just feel so good for those guys, especially the seniors.
They needed that win, especially the seniors. I'll tell you, Mason Slaughter, a senior on the team, he ran for 157 yards, 3 touchdowns. Spencer Rosenfeld, who's the quarterback, who'd been hurt for pretty much the entire season, came back last week, was really rusty. Tonight, not at all. 13 of 16 passing, 180-something yards in the air. And then Rosenfeld also ran for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
So he really had a big game there for Jasper. The Jasper defense looks like invigorated in the second half. We had some guys come in that hadn't played a whole lot. Lee Walker had a big game. He had 7 tackles. He was all over the field. We had Kevon Samuel step up at a wide receiver position. He had 4 catches for 98 yards. So people just all over the field. I got to say something about Stone Phillips. Mm-hmm. Stone Phillips got in the game with the ones tonight and played very well. Pretty much the entire second half. They did hold him scoreless the second half. I'm not going to say Stone's the reason, but he was in there at least.
Wow. I mean, there's some Player of the Week candidates in there.
Yeah, I think
Big
so.
time. And hey, overjoyed for all of those guys. I know next week is going to be wow.
Yeah, they'll be playing
huge
Pensacola Valley. But hey, I'll tell you who was the most happy.
What?
Coach Philip Bailey.
Absolutely.
And let's go right now and hear what he had to say after the game. He was so excited, I thought he was going to give me a hug. So let's see what Coach Bailey had to say.
Hey guys, I'm with Coach Bailey. Hey Coach, it's a little bit better than halftime, right?
Man. I'm so proud for our kids, man. So happy for them. They stood in there in the second half and fought. Now we're down in that locker room down 21-7. Right. Defense shut them out in the second half. I think offense scored 29 unanswered. Right. How about Spencer Rosenfeld, man?
Hey man,
the kid's a winner, man. He's a winner. I love that kid. I love all our kids, man. I'm so happy for them. So proud for them. To come out here and get a win, it means a lot, man.
How much having another week with Spencer? How was that?
It was huge, man. It was huge, yeah. Just him getting back in the flow of things. He's still only like 5 weeks out of surgery, and him not being able to do a whole lot for a month. Right. So him kind of getting back in the flow of things, it was really helpful.
How good does it feel just to get a win after those?
Tremendous, James. It feels tremendous, man.
I think it feels good for everybody, Coach.
It does, don't it?
Yeah.
Don't it? It does, man.
All right, congratulations, Coach.
Thank you, James. Appreciate it.
All right, we're back. You saw Coach Bailey just elated with a victory here, and you can't blame him after the things this team's been through with injuries and setbacks and COVID and going to this region and that sort of thing. Just a good game for them.
Well, and they can use this as a springboard. I know next week is going to be an indomitable challenge, but you end the year with Bessemer. If you can win your last 2 out of 3 games, that's a huge springboard into your spring, into your next year.
Right.
This could be the starting point to where things will really change around and help them out next year.
Yeah, and it'd be good to see this group of seniors who have won the past 2 years and then have really struggled this year. To see them go out and win 2 of the last 3 would be great for them. There's some great players out there. Connor Whitley, he steps up every week and plays tough. You've got Brody Vinson that we talked about this week. Just an incredible kid,
I actually had somebody email me today about the Brody Vincent story. He's an older gentleman. Maybe you could confirm this as long as you've been around the area. We don't know of anybody in this area that's ever gone to play for an Ivy League team. To have a scholarship offer for Harvard, getting in there academically is hard enough, but You know how it is. If you have a chance to play college football beyond high school, it's something. To play in an Ivy League, look, I mean, you've obviously done something great.
Right.
So this is incredible for our area.
Yeah, I don't know of anyone. I mean, I've known people who have gone to Ivy League schools, but I don't know of anyone in my 25 years at the newspaper that has gone on to an athletic scholarship and played football at the Ivy League level, because, I mean, it really does. It takes a lot. Not only do you have to be a good athlete, but you have to be an outstanding person and academic success to be able to even sniff at getting a scholarship to an Ivy League school.
I mean, that's ranked the number 3 school in the world.
Right.
Just forget about nation. We're talking worldwide. You're talking Oxford, Cambridge, all of those schools. This is number 3 in the world.
Right, and there's a lot of kids at Jasper. That's one thing we don't mention. They've got over 30 kids who have made over a 30 on their ACT at the school, and that's something to be applauded for sure.
That means you teachers are doing your jobs doing a good job at it.
I think so. I've been looking at my phone all night. People probably think I'm rude, but I'm looking up DMVPrepZone.com for our scores. I didn't mention that earlier. Guys, please go to DMVPrepZone.com each week. Look at our previews. Look at live scoring all through the night on Friday night, and thank our sponsors who are on there. You'll hear them. If you watch the beginning of the show, you heard them at the beginning, you're going to hear them at the end. Be sure to thank those guys because we couldn't do this every week without them.
That's right. That's how on JBE, that's how I keep everybody updated. I'm hitting reload on the PrepZone.com.
Right.
That's how I'm doing it.
Well, Brian, anything else?
Well, I guess everybody's going to be waiting to see if that third negative COVID test comes out today.
Yeah, for Nick Saban. If not, I feel like you might look over the sideline and see maybe somebody in a Big Al costume that looks like they're coaching. Could be Saban inside it. I don't think he's staying at home. There's no way they're keeping him at home.
No, But, maybe it could be somebody else in that Big Al. You never know who shows up in those Big Al costumes.
That's true. Auburn plays South Carolina. Alabama, Georgia. That's a good weekend for football.
I mean, I think Auburn will win, but it's probably going to be a struggle as long as the Gus bus is still in town.
And we never talk about this because you do not like the NFL.
No, I don't.
And I know a lot of our people at home probably don't like the NFL, but I like the NFL, and I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, and I would like to come out and admit that today that I am a Cleveland Browns fan, and they are 4-1 on the season now. And that is incredible.
I would probably like the NFL if they would spread themselves out a little bit.
I understand.
Yeah. I mean, there is absolutely positively no reason why the Titans, Atlanta, New Orleans couldn't play there. They have a hard time getting anybody to go to an exhibition game.
Right.
Why not play it in another city?
Play in Birmingham.
That's right.
I understand.
And that's the elitism of the NFL that I can't stand.
And that's why I like the Cleveland Browns, because we don't have a team here,
Well, then in that case, you know what you do? Do what I do. You watch the college football games that you missed on Saturday, you watch them on Sunday.
I already know who won, though. That's kind of boring.
Not necessarily. I can watch college football anytime. It's like softball. I can watch it anytime.
I got you. All right, anything else before we go?
No. I will give you one NFL moment. Derrick Henry.
Oh, man. If y'all have not seen this Derrick Henry run, and the stiff arm that he gives to this poor sap that's a cornerback for the Buffalo Bills. This guy, it's not just a stiff arm and somebody falls down. It is a stiff arm, and this guy goes flying like he has been hit by a truck.
It was actually Norman, the guy that had enough of Odell Beckham and was about to whack him.
Right.
Henry, that was built by Bama.
It was built by Bama. It was. And let's hope that Kirby Smart finds out what all is built by Bama later today, too.
Hopefully so.
All right. Well, for Brian Hale, I'm James Phillips. We'll see you next week, and we'll be Game of the Week next week. Summit Christian hosting Valley Head in a big matchup there in Class 1A.